Welcome to In the Round, a podcast for people who love music and genuine conversation. Join us as we sit down with some of our favorite local, regional, and national artists to chat about life and their creative journeys. I'm Dee, I'm a musician, I'm a music lover, and I'm your host. So pull up a chair, get comfy, and enjoy. Hey everyone, Blake Shaw is up next. Blake is an incredible bassist, vocalist, composer, and educator in the world of jazz. This episode brings you a look into the life of this very busy musician as we talk about how he first got into jazz, the various collaborations and mentors that have inspired him, and how he goes about arranging these stacked compositions. So let's get to it. Blake, welcome to In the Round.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm excited. You just played just an absolutely beautiful rendition of Blue and Sentimental.
Thank you.
And it was, truly gave me chills. It's amazing. I've seen you play from afar. I feel like maybe we've played a show together here and there.
We've crossed paths.
But getting to be in... So we're here at Trilix Studio in our Studio D live room, and just with the lighting and just hearing you by yourself was like, again, chills. It really made me emotional. It was so beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're only a little talented, so.
I just try to, be able to eat every single day. It's hard. Every day I need to put something in my mouth, in my body. It's difficult. So. Well, I'm glad I'm succeeding a little bit.
No, it truly was. What I loved about it, and when people watch the performance, I hope they pick up on this. So obviously you play jazz. You're playing jazz today.
A little bit.
But you use your bass, which is beautiful, by the way, and here with us, which I love. It's like you're speaking, and I love that because I can see the journey, and I can see the conversation on your face as well as coming through on your hands, and it's just kind of unreal to watch.
Thank you very much. The music that I listen to obviously has led me to play this way, but I do enjoy, and I can go to many different corners of the room and play with a lot of different people, but I do like the music where you can kind of feel the journey and notice that my voice is following and accompanying yourself or whatever. There's always a little bit of connection between you and the instruments, so I'm glad that's coming across.
Yeah, it's like an extension of you, but it's also like you're having the conversation with it. I don't know. It's really beautiful, and I can't wait for people to see the performance because it's just stunning.
Thank you very much.
You're so talented. And I should say, so to introduce you, you're a bassist, a vocalist, a composer, an arranger, an educator. You're a professor of jazz. Just general performer. You play with a million different bands. River Glenn, which is someone who's also been on In the Round. And you play with, Dan Padley trio. Dan, big fan of Dan.
Yep.
Shout out to Dan.
Everyone is. For good
the king
reasons.
of podcast shout outs also, isn't he?
Yeah, dude. I cannot believe, and he's so humble about this. He's famous.
He's famous.
He is famous. Like
I
people,
think so.
He just got another shout out from some other famous person.
Oh, really? Well, we're here to talk about you, so forget Dan. No, I'm just kidding. Super talented, but and you of course have your own quintet and also the Big-ish Band, which I love that name.
Yeah,
Blake Shaw and the Big-ish Big-ish Band. That gives you some room where it doesn't always have to be big.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it can just be kind of
ish.
But all this to say, you're an extremely versatile player, and I also find it really admirable that you teach and that you have gone into that profession. Can you tell me a little bit about how you first got into jazz, or just music in general? But
well, jazz and music, those are two different stories. Music is a little bit easier. I was just I liked art and making things. I've been doing crafts. My grandma, I love her. She supplied my craft obsession very
junkie.
well.
Yeah, love it.
Would always have paper, the building materials, various
the macaroni
toothpicks,
necklaces.
macaroni, anything that would inspire me, and I used them. I used to hang Barbie dolls from places and burn them. That it went that far a little bit, but
it gets dark really fast here. But
for
creative means of disposal.
Yeah, so ever since I was little, I was always in those type of things in school. Like before, I can't remember now, 5th or 6th grade for band, but before that, just choir in singing was the main thing. So I was singing when I used to go to church. I was singing all the time there, and I would get solos and stuff in elementary school, middle school, and stuff like that. And I didn't really start for me, really making music, touching an instrument and making sounds that way until I think it was 7th grade. I started, I took a few guitar lessons.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I guess I did do piano lessons when I was 8 or 9 or something. But
everybody does, right?
Yeah.
And then they either grasp it or move on.
And it was a great foundation, something that I use today for, we can talk a little later about composing and arranging.
Yeah.
But guitar, that's what really brought me to string instruments. And guitar finally, like I said, I was singing a lot, but of course I was doing it, someone's way or a way, that I didn't really choose. So now that I had guitar, I could pick my rhythms. I didn't really know very many chords at the beginning or whatever. So when I tried to sing something that had a chord in it I couldn't play, I would kind of skip it or make something up. And that's how years later I'm putting a name to it, but that's how I started my reharming journey, putting different chords to existing tunes, and something I still do a lot today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then so I did guitar for a couple years, and I was doing open mics, and I was playing with people. I was just learning about the instrument as much as possible. And I have a decent facility. I know how things work. I don't know all the
You're silly. Yeah.
I don't know all the
scales.
Extensions.
Shut up.
I know scales and stuff. But that's how I found my sounds. I did know major and minor scales and stuff like that, and that helped me find the sounds that I was looking for. But I came to bass like a lot of people.
Wait, isn't this your choir or your band teacher forced you?
Not
right?
really forced me, but he knew that I was playing guitar and they needed a bassist. They're like, can you play?
Yeah, that's always how it happens, right? They're like, oh.
But that's kind of, it's like, it's kind of negative, kind of sad, but that story. But I've heard it so many times.
Oh yeah.
And then these people. I've heard it from big people that are like the people that are making the instrument or have made the instrument. So I'm not ashamed of it because it's okay not knowing things, not knowing what's cool or what's right away, as long as you end up there. And that's where I've ended up. Bass fits my personality because I love playing. I love talking to different people. I love getting to know lots of different people. And this instrument has been a vehicle for me to do that, easily. Because even though I like that, I am still a little bit shy, at first.
Sure.
When sometimes you're put in a situation, like for me, blah, blah, I'm a musician. So when I'm in that type of situation, speaking for myself or starting a conversation isn't hard. When I'm around people that aren't musicians, I'm like,
what do we even talk about?
Can I swear? What the hell are we going to talk about? Like, what do we have in common? I know, and then that's not totally right.
No, music gives a language. No, that's because we talk about this a lot of like music creates an immediate community. So I get that though, because then you meet someone, you're like, oh, your insurance. So like,
so what do you do after work?
you're like a good neighbor, stay farm is oh, I probably can't even say that. Bleep it out. But yeah, you know, like that's such a good point though. You know, like you as a performer, it is kind of, I feel like we're naturally a little extroverted that way, and we like to connect with the audience and talk to people. But yeah, it's easier to start with musicians, people who know.
It's easy to connect with an audience because you are driving the conversation,
Ooh,
true. Wherever I want to go, unless you have a really loud heckler or anything like that.
I would love to see a heckler heckling you.
Okay, thank you. That's how I would do it.
Oh my God. So then what drew you? So, okay, you started playing guitar. They need a bass player. You're playing bass. So is that what drew you? Like, did you start playing jazz standards?
That's exactly how. Because they needed a bassist for the jazz band. I didn't mention that, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's how I got into jazz. And I had, when band came around, again, I can't remember, 5th or 6th grade. I think it was 6th at Lisbon High School in Iowa. I took trombone. Oh. So so from piano and trombone, I had an idea of notation, how to read music or whatever. But when I got to playing bass in the jazz, I did not know how to read. I mean, bass music, you know, put it to the instrument and sight read. Right. I could figure out, that's that, and okay, that's here.
You could probably hear it. I feel like you're
somebody. That too.
Yeah.
But not fast enough to like actually play with them. So what I did, and I encourage people to do this, all my young students, if this is something that they can understand clearly, I tabbed all my jazz music. And so I put I cut it out, crafts. Yeah. I cut it out.
Your crafts, like the little diagonal, like the shapes. Okay, keep going.
I put the tab under all the music, and I slowly kind of retaught myself. I taught myself how to read bass on the bass,
right?
And through tablature, and that was fun. That challenge of doing that was nice. In other bass music that's written down, it's usually not very interesting. Jazz, you can do that. And, rock music and folk music is really fun to play. I do love that music. Right. Not fun to read. I mean, it's just
I can't imagine.
It's just simple.
Yeah,
the harmony and the notes are simple, so that part isn't challenging for me. But when I'm playing bluegrass, folk music, or whatever, it's all about the groove and the emotion. So that's interesting, being live. So I don't want people to get don't misunderstand me here.
First.
I'm not knocking it at all.
Right. No, it is different. And to explain it for our non-music people who might be listening, or non-musicians, I should say.
Muggles.
Tabs. Yes. The muggles.
Yes.
God, I love that. So tabs versus actual music. So, if you've seen piano music, it has all the individual notes versus tabs or C chord, D chord, it kind of chords it out. So there's a little more
and there's no rhythm.
Right.
So you have to know the song, which is a good exercise, honestly.
True.
So again, there's lots of positive things about tablature. But if you're one of those people that need to be told what to do all the time, then you need to study notation. I like to be in the middle. I like to know what I need to do, but I'm still going to make my own decisions. That's how I come to notation. And how I read and that, whatever. And usually bass lines are not written very well, so I'm kind of used to making up my own stuff and finding the better sounds.
Oh gosh! Well, in the way you play, I mean, you play almost like a lead guitarist. I mean,
I'm trying.
It's amazing.
I'm trying. Thank you.
It is lead. It's lead bass. It's just. But to your point, people aren't writing what you're playing. No. There's no way. No. You would have to write
and that would be hard to read anyway,
too.
It'd
be insane. There's too much black on the page. I just don't even look at it.
It's difficult. Reading music is difficult. And reading music and emoting.
Yes.
Is difficult.
Yes.
I have the pleasure of working with high school jazz ensembles a lot at jazz fests, judging or whatever and doing clinics, or that sometimes they have me come to the schools and we work, and we talk a lot about that it is hard to groove and read music. So, whenever you can get off the page is the best. So,
no, that's so true of all music, but I definitely feel like that's the point of jazz, is to break the rules
Absolutely.
a little bit. So you learn the rules and then you break it.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, because sometimes people forget that. And I think that's sometimes what gives music theory a bad rap, or gives negative vibes to some people. Learning, because you have to learn the rules first before you can break them.
Yeah.
And these rules are rules.
Yeah, right.
You know? And so it's difficult for some people to get past that step. And look, I really love how I think about music and how I come to music with different people. And music theory has been good for me. It's not the only way. That's like my favorite thing about music and art in general, is that there are so many successful ways to succeed.
Yeah.
And yeah, music theory can be one of them, but it doesn't have to be.
I love how this is almost like is music theory right for you? Find out today. Call 1-800-BLAKE-SHAW.
This episode is sponsored by Little Village Magazine, your resource for music, theater, dining, nightlife, community news, and the arts in Iowa, all for free. Visit littlevillagemag.com, follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook, sign up as a print subscriber to receive copies by mail, or pick up a copy at various locations throughout the state.
So touching on the education piece, I think I read you were even going in with an organization going into like elementary schools and kind of introducing them to jazz all the way to, sounds like, middle school and high school. So is it so like, how do you explain jazz to like a fifth grader? Or you had this great comment about, you talk about it in a way that's kind of on their level. And I was curious about that.
Yeah, for that. So that, I'll tell you what it is. KCCK, 88.3 KCCK is a local jazz station in Cedar Rapids, locally owned, and I think it is for profit because they have employees there, but it's self-run, or whatever.
Independent. Yeah.
And they have this group that was made before me, but before me joining. It's called the Schoolhouse Jazz Group, and they have been going around, I think, 20 years or something like that.
Schoolhouse Rock, Schoolhouse Jazz.
Yeah. And Dennis McPartland and Al Naylor, drummer and trumpet player, who have been around in Iowa for a long time in the scene, teaching themselves and playing themselves. But they started this group way back when, just to get that music in the schools or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And so to answer your question, how... Oh, sorry. I guess I need to. Now, past 8 years or so, 5 to 8 years, I've become the narrator / bass player / singer, whatever.
Fun. Yeah.
So that's I'm the leader-ish of the group.
Cool. Okay.
But so to answer your question, how do you explain? You don't really. You show. You show them how you do it. So we pick interesting tunes that are easier for them to grasp, and we do a lot of playing, and I get them up on their feet, and we clap on 2 and 4.
Love it. Oh, I mean, essential, first of all.
We get that locked in as soon as possible and have them stomping. And we do a lot of call and response. This is the favorite, the best, as I can have seen lots of different groups, it's usually their favorite part. We sing the blues, and I start by singing the blues, and I tell them how the blues is so emotional, but also ironic, because we're singing about something really sad usually. My dog just died. My girlfriend cheated on me. Yeah, all that. But you're singing it in sometimes a major sounding way.
Yeah.
Or a happy way that makes you feel good. So we talk like that. We use language like that. But they love this part where I sing a phrase and then they sing it back to me, and we go through like 2 times through the blues form or whatever. And the absolute reason that group exists, and for me, maybe it was a little bit different for the people that invented this group or whatever, but it's just to pique their interest. We're not going in there to make jazz musicians. I don't even care if they grow up to not like jazz at all, as long as they like music, live music. So we're sharing the music that we like through jazz, and so we call it the schoolhouse jazz. But honestly, I want to get these people interested, these young people interested in music and live art as soon as possible. Yeah. Whether they grow up to do it or whether they grow up to buy tickets to come to my shows.
Really, you're just trying to populate your future audience.
Indoctrinating? Is that what it is? Grooming? I guess maybe I shouldn't use those words.
I love it. That's so funny. So this is interesting though, because it ties into what you were saying about growing up, getting to be creative. And to me, if you think about of all the genres, jazz is like coloring. It is like, to me, the most related to more physical painting or like. Absolutely. Because there's, again, we talk about there's the rules, but then also breaking the rules and also just the amount of creations that you can make even off of one kind of old standard. Yeah. Like, it's kind of that freedom and structure, but also there isn't There doesn't have to be structure. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love how I came to jazz, and I don't think everyone gets this opportunity, but I came to it very naively. I knew that I didn't come into it confidently or thinking high of myself, but I didn't think low of myself. And I don't think it's, especially today with the technology and social media and stuff, I think it's harder for some young people to come to this mindset. But for some reason, I wasn't thinking low or high of myself. I just wanted to do this interesting thing. Yeah. And I got to improvise. And I listened back at the stuff that I was playing sometimes like that. I mean, I was using my ear. Yeah. I was already singing through my instrument. Now, I went further, and I was hanging out with people who were also deep into it. And when you get further and further into jazz, you know that you need to learn some things about harmony and theory and stuff. There are some jazz musicians that know nothing and sound very, very good. I'm not one of those people. I'm just kidding. No, I hate them a lot. No, but I'm not. Yeah. I'm not one. I need structure, and that's how my brain works, and I think that's totally fine. Those people that can do that, like I don't knock them at all. I like to say that a lot. I want people to know how chill I am. Yeah. Because I do talk about theory and harmony a lot, but that's because I like it, and that's how I see these colors going on all around me. So, I love that visual of that, and I love that your comment about like approaching something from a neutral state. That's such a rarity. Yep. We usually, especially as adults, like that's the benefit of getting into music as a child. I feel like, because you're more open. Like, you don't know what you're supposed to like. You don't know what, and you're more susceptible to, you're better off making mistakes, and they don't like traumatize you, right? Right. Because you don't know. You find out like way after. You're like, that was bad, or not good, or So it wasn't until I learned about harmony that I was embarrassed, I guess. That's a very strong word, but so I did have to go through a time of how to organize this vibe, this thought process, and it's still something that we struggle with today. But I powered through, and I've come on another side, so like I said, I started improvising, then I learned some things, and now I'm kind of on a side where like I'm trying to use my ear more than I have in the last decade. And I don't know when I have really come to this, but I feel, the pandemic, being by myself definitely helped. Yeah, then you were alone with your thoughts in your head. Yeah, for too long. Yeah. Oh, well,
So on this topic, though, I feel like I read a quote about like a professor of yours or something said it's easier to just start and then fix it instead of feel like intimidated by a blank page.
Yep.
Like just start. And I
know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I just tell me.
The late, great John Ira Rapson. He passed away in 2021. He was the head jazz professor at the University of Iowa. And we just had a really, really great friendship. We played music outside of school. And I still know and hang out with his family quite often. And I was on the last couple of his big projects before he passed away. And so this thing that he's talking about, he was talking about, I can't remember the word. But anyway, I'll explain exactly what it is. Sometimes with composing or arranging, you don't know where to start, and having a blank piece of paper is intimidating. So he told me, put something on it because it's way easier to fix things than to come up with something. So even if you just have to put one thing, just one little dot, like, okay, where's that go next? Or something like that. So yeah, I would, I took this a bit further. Schematic.
Okay, there it is. I was like, it's coming. I saw it like sprouting.
All right. When I have this problem, I've met a lot of people that do too, so I'm sure you've felt this way before. I hear a piece of music and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have wrote that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just so good, and it just resonates in your body so nicely. Like, I just wish.
Yes.
So one way that I practice finding sounds or vibes like this is I make a schematic. I sit down with only paper, no music, not writing down harmony, no notes. I write down textures and vibes and maybe instrumentation, or, so maybe a song starts out with a drone. Okay. So I write down starts with the drone, or now it moves to a texture with everybody playing, but it's still quiet. Then it moves to a texture where it's only 2 or 3 instruments, and one of those instruments is playing the melody. Things like that. Then I go back and I put my ideas, harmony, rhythm, and stuff on there, and it always turns out not sounding anything like the piece that and it's a great way to start composing, and it's something that I still do today. I think I'm lucky when I get a tune that comes to me, and then I get it out and it's there, and I elaborate on it or whatever. But that's not always. That doesn't happen all the time. So sometimes I need something to jumpstart.
I wanted to ask you about composing, because I write music as well, but I'm not writing big band jazz compositions. And so, and you actually kind of answered my question, because I want to ask, like, how do you start and how do you build an arrangement? And but it sounds like, what you're doing is similar to what I do a lot of times, where it's like, what's the vibe? Yep. Or you write, for me, writing lyrically, then I'll kind of, sometimes music comes first or lyrics comes first, but then you determine the vibe after. So this is exactly what I want to ask you about, because also this side of music is different. We've had a lot of artists in that are more on the like traditional band, playing rock, folk, whatever. And so I think the more classical composition side, not classical music, but classic.
I get you.
Traditional. It's so fascinating to me of like, I hear music that way, though, so I kind of get it. I just haven't attempted to do a whole sheet. I guess I love communication, and that to me is what music theory or learning things like that is. I have spent a lot of time learning how to talk to several different types of musicians. And that's what's made me successful. And I feel successful. Oh, yeah,
in this
absolutely.
very small bubble of Iowa. Like, I like the people and the music that I play. Yeah. So I take this approach with composing and arranging too. I never do it the same. Like everything that you just mentioned, like I've done that, and I like that. You come up with different things. I'm not a one-trick pony. I don't know. I just don't do it. Some people find something that works for them and they do it over and over, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
Right.
For my big band. So I do write full big band music every once in a while when I get the opportunity to be a guest artist or go to a high school or whatever. But the most of the big band stuff that I'm doing right now is my band, the Blake Shaw Big Ish Band. And it's big ish because its rhythm section is the same, vibes, guitar, drums, bass. And then, but I have 2 trumpets, 2 trombones, and 1 of each saxophone, alto, tenor, bari.
Amazing.
So it's mini.
Yeah.
But that band, most of the tunes in that band, it's interesting because I've been playing a lot of those tunes in my small group, and the musicians that I play with, like Dan Padley, or my not my drummer, but the drummer that plays with me the most, Christopher Jensen, and then Nolan Schrader on sax. Those are like the core of my guys, my people that I play with. So we've taken this music, and they're all improvisers, and they're all composers in their own sense, and we play it differently all the time.
Yeah.
So sorry, it's interesting to me because that's how I made my biggest band arrangements. You know, we got to mess around and experiment a lot, and then I wrote them down and I tried to recreate these vibes. So in the biggest band, the peaks of tunes or just the directions that we go are mostly written down, you know, orchestrated, as you might say, or whatever. So that part, it takes a little bit of the fun of the way away, but it is manageable.
Well, but then you got that vamp section where it just says Chris does cool stuff or whatever.
There's plenty of room for improvisation and changing the tune. Yeah.
You're making me miss. I actually grew up playing trumpet.
Oh yeah.
And trumpet's actually the reason I ended up playing in live bands.
Cool.
Not that I was playing in a big band, but I was actually playing trumpet for like an Americana, band. So it actually, that's what led me to getting into like gigging.
Nice.
Which is kind of funny because I haven't picked up my trumpet in 10 years. My embouchure's just gone, I'm sure.
That's hard.
But I loved playing jazz band in high school. I mean, those were always my favorites. And that's why I was like envisioning, I can even remember the font that was used at the vamp section, I am so impressed by improvisation. Any of the music, I mean, that you play, but also that you have out like on Spotify or Bandcamp. I mean, there's some just insane. I actually wrote, there was one on Listen Here, which is on your Bandcamp, which is HEAR, everyone, which I find. I love a good pun. There's this track, October 6th, that I literally drew like a smiley face because it was so good. It was like wild. It just totally took me on a journey.
Thank
and that
you.
one really stood out.
That's a tune that I wrote on October 6th.
What? There was no hint of that.
Surprise.
That's amazing. That's what I figured it was, something that you had written, but God,
and it's really, so that album, Listen Here, is all my own compositions, all my own tunes.
Yeah.
And that was for my master's degree at the University of Iowa. I don't know exactly how it is right now, but before the changeover that just happened, like slowly over 5 or 4 years ago, the end of your master's project was to write and produce a CD of music.
Wow.
And record it. And so that's where that album came from. And October 6th, I'm just not very good at naming things. But it's a tune in 5/4 for all the nerds out there.
Ooh, maybe that's why I liked it. I love a good.
It's groovy. I liked it. Yeah. And I wrote it. I remember writing it on John Rapson's. I think it's called a Rhodes. It's that black topped one. And it's you can change the whatever on it. So that's what I
You're the best combination of like super music nerd, but some things you're like, I don't know, too many knobs.
Simplicity.
It's great. That's how I roll. I'm not super technical, but I do like the thing, so I get it. No, I love that. And then you put out an album in 2019 called It Happened, and that's reimagined some old favorites.
That's all old jazz standards that I reharmed, put new harmony on, arranged, and that was my quintet. So most of that album is my quintet, which is 2 saxes, guitar, bass, vocals, and drums. But then I got to expand and do some other stuff, invite some more friends. I had one tune is like just a quartet, and another tune is just a duo. Some professors that I really loved hanging out with.
I mean, you're good when you can get the professors to play it.
Yeah, no. They were very, very kind to do that. So, that was a fun album. And that was the first time that I'd sung on and recorded music. Recording music is so hard.
Yeah.
I'm all about the live vibes.
Yeah.
That's just acoustically. That's how I've come to music. Every room is different, and it's just hard to pick one sound for that for a record or whatever.
That makes sense, because I was like, Blake, you play so much, and you don't have a ton. You do have music out, but that makes sense because you got to see it. Because also, again, the live experience is just the best. But you crack me up because on your Bandcamp, I think it was your Christmas album. Little EP, you're like, I don't know, I recorded this in my living room, whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. And it's like a little note, and it just really made me laugh because it still sounds like it's so beautiful.
That's true. I remember writing something like that.
Just like shows us your personality. I love it. But yeah, that's today, even in the studio, experiencing you play Blue and Sentimental. I mean, it truly was moving. I know I said this earlier, but I think it speaks to the power of the music, but also the interpreter. And that takes me, you had this great comment. We talk a lot about genres on the show, and, sometimes they're helpful and sometimes they're annoying, to have to kind of define. But what I loved is you called genres the dialects of music.
Yep.
And I relate a lot to language. I studied Spanish and Portuguese, and I kind of think that way too. And that, see, você tá from Lisbon. I know it. Oh yeah, Lisboa. That's a joke. He's from Lisbon, Iowa.
Yeah,
and
not Portugal. Unfortunately.
Not Portugal. But in speaking, that's really kind of how I think of music too, is it's like a communication, like you were saying. But I love the idea that there's different dialects, and sometimes they're really similar, and sometimes they go together, and sometimes they're wildly different.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I talk about, when I get to talk about music, like deep in the appreciation and how people hear it and stuff like that with young people or anybody, I usually start talking about dialect because, you can put a classical concerto in front of any instrument, and if they have the facility, they can play that, and if a saxophone, well, let's narrow it down, saxophone and violin. The saxophone does that, they have to play a certain way, vibrato a certain way, less scooping, maybe.
Yeah, right. Minimal.
And so even though that, the saxophone is used, it's a young instrument. It's used mostly in commercial music right now. Classical there's a lot of people who are changing that, but it's a commercial instrument.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, you recognize it maybe, but you recognize it as classical music. Now, when you put a violin and you make them, or if they improvise, great, but if you put some music in them that it's jazz, with the articulations, it's different. You hear that. So it doesn't have to do with the instruments. It's the way, it's the rhythms that we're playing and the note choices that we're
like,
taking.
Are you playing fiddle? Are you playing violin? I mean,
yeah. I know some people really love to get in that. I know a couple fiddle players,
Oh, those fiddle players. We all know a few of those.
Don't mess up their name, I guess. But.
No, that's so true. And it speaks to the versatility of instruments alone. I mean, you can...
I think it speaks to, the music is here. This is where it's coming from you.
Yeah, right. And it's like you're, speaking your truth. Not to, use that phrase, but getting that out there. Yeah, I loved that explanation of it.
Well, and that I think that's what, and speaking like that, it allows it to be more accessible, I think. And I just, Because I speak differently with you than I would a lot some other people or whatever. So this dialect that we're using, it goes back to my thing of communication, music theory, and music theory in any sense. And I'm talking the deep journals that people are writing or whatever. We're just talking at a bar about the C chord or whatever. That's music
like
theory.
We do.
Yeah.
All musicians just sit around and talk about A minor.
C chord. But it's just all how you communicate with each other, how you're speaking with each other. So
I think it's why we're drawn to certain types of music.
Absolutely.
If it's like in kind of in your dialect level or totally totally different, maybe draws you in. I love that. That's why I love music so much, because it's all of those things together.
Yeah. And there's so much of it.
Yeah.
You'll never even be able to get through the stuff that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
There's that much good art out there.
On that note, what's a comfort album for you? Like, what's an album you go back to?
I go back to Thundercat's Golden Age of Apocalypse a lot. That is
it's amazing name and title.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's just one. A Thundercat is an electric bassist, and he, I think he most now. No, I'm right. 6-string bass is his main axe right now, and he's got this one 6-string. It's like a hollow body, and it's just huge, and he's very, very good. He's one of those players who can play anything, and when you not only his music, you can hear that, but when you listen to some interviews, I've seen a couple where he has his bass and he explains other people's bass lines and why they're so good. The best musicians, in my opinion, because it changes from person to person, but the best musician is able to imitate. Has their own sound and can do their own thing, but this is good because they do it this way and stuff like that, and it's not important to be able to do all that stuff, but I think it really shows, how much
your aptitude for it, because you can, and it's a great compliment to that player. Yeah. But I think it's also a great way to learn. I know a lot of, I don't know if you do this in teaching, where like, especially with younger kids, it's like, just learn the Taylor Swift song. Yeah. Like, if you just need to know how to place your fingers.
Do it.
Just start there.
Nike. Every single day.
But then, so I think, imitation's the biggest form of flattery, but also I think it's just a great learning tool. Yeah. So that's like a comfort album for you. Is there albums you recommend if someone's like, you know what, Blake Shaw's amazing? I mean, other than your music, but they're like, Blake Shaw's amazing. I want to get into jazz. That's
hard because I'm everywhere. There's a lot of music that I love.
I'm totally putting you on the spot.
That's okay. No. I like it though. So I'm going to answer this question in contrast. Because there's just so much. I just gave you an electric bass kind of like neo R&B kind of vibes.
Which I'm going to spin immediately today.
Good. Yeah, and then so let me give you an acoustic one. I'm not good with title, but Ron Carter is one of my favorite double bassists.
Ooh, yeah.
And Ron Carter just happens to be has the record for the most recorded bassist in history.
Wow.
And he's sampled a lot on rap and R&B type albums and stuff like that.
Is he did he do studio work and that's why he's all over? Or was it just that he's played
but also he's not 90 yet. I think he's like 86 or something like that.
So he's put in the time.
Yeah, he was with Miles Davis.
My God.
So but I mean, Miles. That's like not a 1% of the top people that he's with. He's a very big part of jazz history and how we hear jazz today. Is because of him, because he's been everywhere. He's played with a lot of Brazilian people. Linda. I can't remember.
Blake and I are horrible at names together, so this is great. But like Gilberto. I mean, that's like way back. That's too far back. But yeah.
But any album by him would be great to start with.
You gotta let me know when you're playing the cave again, and we can do some Brazilian samba music. That would be amazing.
I'm playing there sometime soon. I can't remember. It's in April or something.
Ooh, okay. April. Let's see. Yeah, spring. So, and actually, people should follow you online, Blake Shaw Bass, right? On Facebook?
Yeah. Who cares about that? They can if they want. I honestly...
post a lot. Great. You post your shows there and where you're going to be.
But Instagram is like my, that's where I'm doing the most.
Yes. Blake Shaw Bass.
Anything that goes to Facebook is usually, that connect. You can connect them or whatever.
Yeah.
And I try not to spend time.
We all just live in it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I post on my story a lot, and sometimes I post non-music things or other people's music that I like.
You know what I want is more cat photos, because you show me your cat.
Do need to. I have
really cute.
I go through phases because she's a wonderful being. My boyfriend and I's cat is Lumi is her name.
Cute.
And she's very cute and she's very affectionate. And I love the relationship that we all have. A lot. Sorry, I'm not knocking anybody, but some people take a lot of pictures of their animals and stuff like that, and that's fine. I think I should take more. But the reason why I don't is because I am just enjoying the moment that I am in. That like just going home and that being that Lumi is. For some reason, she's very good at getting both Alex and I to focus on the moment and just be. So I don't know.
Oh, see, that's lovely, and that speaks to like a larger. I mean, we're all going through it right now, right? We're all dealing with mental health and various shades of gray or whatever. But I find that I do that a lot because I will be out with friends and we get 0 photos. And then I get home and I'm like, dang it. And I was like, but I was there. I was just enjoying myself. And I feel like we have to be on our phones so much. Like I have to for work and, which love work. But it's a lot. And so I do find that I tend to just that's often the times when I want the photos is when I'm not worried about it. So it kind of speaks to that. And animals are there for refilling the heart,
it's wonderful. I love them.
But I did see a photo and she's really cute. So please more. She's like all white and
she's got
really
beautiful
cute.
fur.
Yeah.
She's a princess. She has these eyes that are like just very human-like sometimes too. Just very beautiful blue eyes.
You need to compose a piece. Oh, I was like, have you?
Kitty. I don't know. I think I actually. Oh, this is funny.
Kitty.
I made a joke about making a song for my cat, and I got a lot of embarrassingly amount of engagement.
It will blow up. I mean, Lume.
And then I had to tell them, guys, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I remember I was like, I'm sorry, guys.
No. Just do it. Partner with the ARL or something. Have it go to like a good cause, but still do it. Yeah. And then you'll be Spotify owes me $1 million now because I made a song about my cat. Oh my gosh.
I'll try my best.
Oh my God. Blake, you were so much fun and you're such a warm, inviting, inclusive, versatile, talented, just wonderful person. And I really appreciate you making the trip to come share your art with us and your creativity and your joy and your cat.
Thank you for having a space for all that. I mean, that's awesome. This place is beautiful.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it. Now you know where we're at. Please come back, bring the Biggish Band.
All right.
Hang out in the studio. That'd be great. Actually, that'd be fun. We should talk about Here's Blake Shaw's rendition of Blue and Sentimental. Enjoy.
Feeling blue. Oh yeah, you keep me feeling blue for you. Keep me feeling.
In the Round is produced and recorded at Trilix Studio. Remember to subscribe to In the Round wherever podcasts are found.